Hello and welcome back to Forza Motorsport 7 with a bit of a challenge. Now, for a very stupidly long time, I've been trying to play Catch the Cars. You don't know what that is? You have a large range of cars, usually in class. There's like an A-class car, an S-class car, R-class car, in a lobby. And then you have a very long roll-off delay between them, like 5 or 6 seconds. And the grid is in reverse PI order. So the slowest car goes first and the fastest car goes last. And the goal of the cars is the first car is to try and make a clean getaway, and because you only got one lap, to try and stay in first. While the car in the very back, it's going to try and make up the dividend that he lost in the roll-off delay and win the race. And I've been trying to do that for a very long time, and finally, I have just about managed to get it to work. It did have two minor glitches that I will show you later on. But I decided to use Porsche, because it is their 70th anniversary for this first one. I'll probably do more later now I figure out how to use it. And I initially wanted to use 4. I got the first race to work with 4, and then the next race can only work 3. But we'll get to what happened with that. And I chose the Muegello because you need to have a long lap. If you don't have a long lap, what's the point? I had a 5.5 second roll-off delay. And yeah, I had a Porsche 804, a 911 GT1 race car, a Porsche 935 Moby Dick race car from Group 5, and to finish it off, the 919 Evo. Or not the Evo, but the 919 that won at Le Mans, the latest model you have. So that's an A-class car, an S-class car, an R-class, and an X-class. And yeah, here are the results. Now, originally, I wanted to have this at the Nuremberg GP circuit. And you see the cars lined up there. However, there was a problem. The AIs, despite being on unbeatable difficulty, didn't know the Nuremberg GP circuit. They were really bad at it, we'll say. Very bad. And I'm driving this 804, sorry. And, the catch-up system was working pretty well. The 919 is still on the start line. I believe it just went off now. So, yeah, it had quite a lot of work to do. Now, this was a 6.5 second roll-off delay, so it had 32 seconds to make up. And that's a lot of time, but this is an A-class car versus an X-class car, and the X-class car had to make it through traffic. And then you started seeing the problems, because the 919's already caught the 935, you just about saw it in the background. And it was making mincemeat of pretty much everything. And then it went off the track. And then it crashed. So, it lost all that ground and immediately made up. But you see, they are catching. We have half a lap. We have a little under half a lap to go. And I'm about to be overtaken, and then the AIs get confused by the process of overtaking. And proceed to... Well, I run wide. The 919 just shoots past everyone and says goodbye. And then, when the 935 was trying to overtake the GT1 car, yeah. The Moby Dick took out the GT1 911. Yeah. It didn't turn out so well, and I was about to be overtaken when the 935 forgot how to corner. And proceeded to drive right into the tire wall. So, yeah, the test race was not going to plan. And I had to do a bit of a rethink. And that's how I ended up at Muegello. Now, for the first race, I was once again in the 804, and the first race is actually working out pretty well. All 4 cars spawned properly, none of them had too much horsepower, too little horsepower. They all matched their classes and performance specifications, which is a first for Forza in a very long time with these things. Because Forza loves to do that equivalence of that balancing performance thing, even though it keeps them in the same class and PI number. I don't know how any of that works. And the AIs, although they were a fair bit cowardly, because even though these guys are unbeatable, they still aren't quite sure on overtaking all the time, were actually not crashing too much. They were doing relatively good jobs. And I was flying in the 804. Actually, flying the 904. That's a different car. Yeah, 1960s Formula 1 car, less than 200 horsepower, this one. Weighs about 500 ounces. And the 919 is immediately on the inside of the 935, ain't quite on the outside, and then it runs a little bit wide, and is falling back to the field again. You can just see in the gravel trap. It had to work its way back up again, but that was the only incident, thankfully. The 935 would use its sheer 845 horsepower to get past the 911 GT1 car. This is all helping me massively, by the way, because I am running away. The LMP car's already caught back up to the field. I can't do anything about this. I'm trying to go around the outside. That's never going to work. I have to accept the fact I will lose that battle and move on and try to defend against, well, the GT1 car, because the 919 didn't even care about my car. And I just had to hope I could out-drag the 919. The 911, sorry. Interesting, the LMP car hasn't been able to get past the 935. And wouldn't get past, it's a very close photo finish, but another very close photo finish happened right here. Alright, so, oops. I want to show you that photo finish. Alright, so, although I do win by about half a car length, you have to bear in mind the closing speeds of this 911, because it was closing fast. It would overtake me by the time my rear end crosses the line. So that was very, very close. Less than a tenth of a second between us two. But I will claim a third place over the 911 GT1. And then way far up the road, the 935 just about managed to hold off the 919, purely based on its speed. You see that the red car is actually faster than the LMP car in a straight line, and since it doesn't have that all-wheel drive benefit down the straightaway, it does manage to just about claim a victory. Again, very close margins we are talking about here, people. Very, very close margins between these cars. And that's what makes this racing so good. Now, here's where the problems are. We only got one clean race. After that, the game would not let me spawn in the Porsche 804. It just had a vendetta against it, unknown to science, but anyway, it wouldn't work. So I'm driving the 911 GT1 car in the front row. We have 3 cars this time, because the 804 wouldn't spawn. Very annoying, that one. I'll get to that in detail later on, but yeah, I was busy running away as fast as possible. I wasn't expecting to win. My only hope was that I could defend enough that the AIs weren't confident enough to overtake me. So I just had to be able to plant my car on every apex before the straightaway so I could get them on the acceleration and then defend the braking zones. That was my only strategy. Because these cars are very, very fast that are chasing me. And I was benefited by them fighting each other a little bit. The 919 did have a bit more of a problem catching. That doesn't mean you didn't crash, though. So, kind of a double-edged sword there. I was continuing to just about hold off the 935, and luckily my speed is not enough, so I was able to defend him into the braking zone. We only have a few more corners left here in this race, and it's the same way, but it is very close. It's all close together. I can just about defend into the big hairpin, but the 935 cannot. The 935 is in third. LMP car is in second. I'm trying to defend. I know he's got the exposure. I know he's got the speed, and there's just no chance. I couldn't even get in to cover the corner fast enough. It's just gone. You can see how fast that thing is compared. That's not a slow 911. That's a very fast 911. And I couldn't do anything about it. I was very scared he was going to go for a dive on me there. Luckily, he didn't. However, he has 845 horsepower. I do not. And he will fly past me and I will end up in a sad 3rd place. For the second to last race, I am in the 935. You see the GT1 car just went off, and I am in hot pursuit. I'm gonna go faster than them down the straightaway, but I am concerned about that LMP car, because it is gonna be released very soon. Right as I get out the straight, he will be released, and I gotta go fast. Because we see how fast that LMP car can catch. It's already on its way. And I'm a little scared at this point, because I am not catching that 911 as fast as I want to. I'm using every inch of the track I can, and I am just not catching it as fast as I want to. It is a little scary, because that 919 is creeping ever closer. By creeping, I mean sprinting like a bull. However, he can't quite get me into the corner he wants. He tries it, but I'm actually able to hold it around the outside of the LMP car, and he's not able to make that move. I am not going to defend. He goes wide. He bumps into me, but in a stroke of luck, he can't get around the 911, and before he can make a cutback, I will sweep around the inside and block him in. And since I have a faster car, I will outdrive the 911 and retake the lead. And now I have to defend for a little under half a lap against an LMP car in X-Class. And it's very scary. He tries to go around the outside, it doesn't work, he falls back in the line. It's coming down to the wire. This is not the thing I was expecting to happen. I'm able to hold him off in the chicane, and I get a better run because he gets on the brakes. It all comes down to the final corner, and then the drag race to the line. I know he's a little scared to overtake me, so I just park it right on the racing line, which the AI follows. And I'm just hoping he can't get on that power enough. It's coming up to the finish line. I have the better straight line speed as demonstrated earlier, and I cross the line just ahead of the 919, claiming a first place for the 935 Group 5 race car. That is a result I was not expecting, but you know what? I will take it. That was a fantastic race, and one I did not expect to happen at all. Now, it is time for my final round in the 919. And as I was always expected to win this. Just because players always get better spec out of the cars than AIs. And when you have an X-Class car and a player versus R-Class car and S-Class car AIs, you really don't stand much of a chance for the AIs. So, yeah, I was also expecting to win this. The question is, how long would it take me to overtake them? Would it be super fast, or would it take a little while? And, well, the results were actually a little bit surprising. You see, I didn't want to crash into it, I didn't want to go off the track or anything. So I tried to not wreck the $1 million supercars and race cars by trying to race completely clean. And that posed some very interesting challenges, because I caught the cars at a really awkward point down the hill. The AI were not very brave, and I was very brave. So I dove to the inside, not quite actually, tried to, it didn't work. And I managed to just sneak the inside of the 935, and then I was able to blitz past the 919 like it wasn't even there. So, yeah, it was a bit easy. The 935 does actually go for the inside on the 911, which is good for him. They're actually getting that move. The 911 does fight back, just doesn't have an answer for the straight line speed, as I run away very fast in the evolution. Yeah. Very few cars can go flat out through that hairpin. The fact that the 919 can just shows how crazy fast it is. It's not even a competition. And, yeah, I will cross the line. However, this is not the battle I'm going to be focusing on. You see, since that last half of the lap was, well, very boring hot lapping, I'm going to focus on the 935. Not that, the 935. Because it actually has a proper battle as I run away from the field. And you see it tries to go for the inside on the 911, it doesn't quite work. So it tries to go for a cutback. That doesn't work either. And the 911 is doing a very good job of defending at this point, considering, you know, they're not really the best AIs. He does try and go for the inside, but the 911 cuts him off. Doesn't quite give him enough room. And that means he has to try and go the long run. He's still winning. He still can't get past. It's actually very close. The 911 will continue to hold on through the chicane, but it is no avail, as eventually it will just outmuster in a straight line, as we shall see here. Yeah. And there we go. Nice, clean overtake. Now, this is the problem I was talking about. This is why we can only have 3 cars. This field looks relatively normal, except for the second 919. This vehicle didn't even move off the start line. It didn't even exist on the roster, and it never moved once. You see, the problem is, I'm using the hopper system for this, right? So I select the hopper, and it says how many drivers do you want in this hopper. I hit 1 for every single hopper, and then I selected the 804 for one, the 911 for the other, the 935 for the one after that, and then the 919 for the final one. The problem is, one of the hoppers was not recognized in the game for whatever reason. So that car was not recognized at all, it didn't even show up. So when you had the 3 drivers, the 3 AIs, it adds an AI in, despite only it being able to spawn in 2. So it doesn't know where to get that car because it doesn't recognize the second hopper. So it just puts in a random car from one of the other hoppers. So even though there's only 1 car on the track, 2 of them spawn. Which is why that car in the back didn't race. This is me. That is the other car, and it did it for every single car. And if you swapped it out, if you, like, for instance, if I got in the 804, the 804 would spawn twice, but the 919 would not spawn at all. It's very annoying. I don't know why it did it. It worked fine the day before when I filmed the first race. I had to do 2 separate days for reasons, and it just would not work. It was very annoying because the first race was fantastically close between me and the 911. But it was no avail. I could not get it to work. Maybe it'll cooperate some other time, but at the very least 3 cars works. And I can work with 3 cars. I can work with 3. So, anyway, it drives me a bit insane. But, whatever. You work with what you got. You work with what you got. And, yeah, that will be it for this episode of Forza Motorsport 7. I am planning to do a few more of these. I have a fair few planned in mind. Gonna space them out, though. They're not gonna be frequent. They're gonna be a little bit more infrequent. But yeah, very fun. That 935 holding up to 919 was fantastically close. And yeah, great fun to record, great fun to watch. But that's going to be it for this episode of Forza Motorsport. So I'll be back with more